Greetings! Welcome to the 15th BAS tutorial. Matt sent me a message saying he wanted to know more about granular synthesis. I'm not sure that I'm exactly the world's authority, but I'm probably not the world's authority on anything. So let's just give it a shot. There's a lot of different flavors of granular synthesis, and I'm pretty sure I'm only going to present one very particular type, and it's actually kind of similar to the one that's in the examples that come with MaximSP, so don't shoot me though. Alright, so the most important sort of differences, I suppose, would be ones that are signal driven kind of granular synthesis, and this sort of one that I'm going to make, which is more of a kind of control driven or event driven granular synthesis. I'm going to start kind of backwards here. I'm going to start by making my patcher that I'm going to load into polytilde. Just to sort of start by looking at at the bottom end of this thing. So I'm going to use a play object, so I'm going to make a new object, play, and I'm going to play from some buffer that hasn't been made yet. I'm going to call that buffer snacks, just for the fun of it. You know what I'm saying? And to play back this, actually let's think more now about what parameters of the sample I'm going to want to control. You probably realize granular synthesis is often mostly based on samples, playing back short snippets of samples somehow, and playing back these short samples. I guess you're going to want to have some kind of choice over a start point in your overall buffer, some duration for the sample, for the grain, if you like, maybe some kind of volume or amplitude choice, and pan. So let me just make a comment, which C on my keyboard makes a new comment. I just want to, so I can keep in mind that I'm talking about a start, I'm talking about a duration, I'm talking about a volume, and I'm talking about a pan. Okay. This is just a comment to keep my mind on track here so I don't forget what I'm doing. I'm going to take, since this is going to be loaded into polytilde, I'm going to make a new object in with the argument 1. So this is where these values start, duration, volume, and pan for each grain in my granular sample playback is going to come in here. And I'm going to unpack those. So a new patch, a new object with unpack 4 values, start, duration, volume, pan. Awesome. Let's see just about how to play back the sample to start with. We're going to use a start point with a duration, and if we use a line tilde, let's make a new object, line tilde, to play back so the line output connected to the play tilde. If this line tilde is going to take a start point and a destination point with a time to go over to that destination, we can see kind of from the help, maybe a little bit from the help from play, that if we're looking at this, if we start at 0 and we go to 1000, we want to do it over the period of 1000 milliseconds to play it back at original speed. So wherever I start, I want to go to the end over the time of the start, the end minus the start, if you like, the duration. Here's my duration. So we just need an end value really here. We've got start and duration. So new object, our handy old plus should be good for adding our start to duration. That'll be our endpoint right there. I'm going to make a list now. So a new object with a pack. This is a list of 3 values, the start, the end, and the duration, because that's kind of all the values that we need to play back from that line. There's my start, there's my end, and my duration right there. Okay. Now, since I do need the start to be separated out in this list, I'm going to make a message that says $1 with a comma, so that's what separates out that first value, $2, $3. So this is $1 start, $2 the destination, $3 duration. Yes, sir. Alright, going through that message, like I said, just basically to get this start point separated out. Okay, that's going to be our playback. we're going to want to do something for amplitude here. Well, here's our amplitude, our volume, as I've called it there. We can use, to make that a kind of some kind of non-linear scaled volume. Let's use 0 to 127 and scale that. So scale 0 to 127. Let's scale that to the range of 0 point to 1 point. And then some kind of floating point value for a non-linear, like some kind of exponential scaling. I never quite know what to put in there, but 1.03 to 1.06, something like that. Alright, there's our volume. We're also going to want to create some kind of volume ramps on this thing, meaning to say when we go from, well, at the start, let's say we want it to be 0 amplitude at the start of the grain, and then maybe go up to the center of the, to the middle of the playback, maybe make that go up to the maximum amplitude and then back down to 0. So to get that happening, let's start at least with looking at the half of the duration, because we know that's the period over which we want to make that happen. So a new object, we'll divide our duration by 2, and we'll say that we're going to pack together. Let's look at a line again. I can just duplicate this line right here. We're going to make a list of 4 values for the line, which will be, let's pack, that'll be a destination over a period of time for the next one, and then another destination over a period of time right there. So we're going to make this destination time. Yes, we could say this like this and make this the time, then go to 0. So in this case it would be going to this destination over this amount of time, and then it would be going to 0, which is the one that doesn't have an inlet, over this amount of time. But the problem is that because in the top here, the order that this unpack is happening, it's going to get this first, and so before it gets the duration, it's going to output the information to the line tilde. So we need some way to make this not this here not go into the pack until this value has gone into the pack. And to do that, well, let's just disconnect everything. What the hell? I'm going to make a new object called F for float, where I'm going to store this amplitude value, and I'm going to trigger this float output after I've given the float input to the other ones, to the duration. So I make a new object with my handy old trigger, T for trigger BF, which is bang float. Alright, so I'm going to bang this floater after, which is why it's to the left of the float, after this time value has gone in. Right. I'm trying to make this look like, oh, I guess that's the way it looks least confusing. Alright, good. So this way we're going to go up to the maximum amplitude, which is the amplitude that I've got coming out of here, or volume is what I'm calling it, who cares. And then I'm going to go back down to 0, this value here, over that half the duration of the sample again. Alright, we can multiply these two things together, new object, this is where we're multiplying the amplitude. There's our amplitude and there's our sample playback, now we're good.